video, we're going to see the different structures of the lymphatic system in this model. So within the lymphatic system, we have vessels that are called lymphatic vessels, which carry the lymph, which will be the fluid that travels through the lymphatic vessels. And the lymph is similar to the blood, except that it doesn't have the plasma proteins, but it has these cells, which are the lymphocytes, that are in charge of finding microorganisms, antigens, cancer cells, anything that it is considered foreign for the lymphatic system. And when they find it, they are able to process these antigens and then are able to set an immunological response. So we have then these lymphatic vessels, and we have also lymph nodes. And the lymph nodes are collections of lymphoid tissue within capsules, and they're small, and they're usually located in particular areas of the body, like in the following parts. So we have these lymph nodes within the cervical area, which are called cervical lymph nodes. And then we have these ones on the armpit that are called the axillary lymph nodes. And then we have these ones that are called the bronchomediastinal. Then here in this membrane that holds the intestines into the posterior wall of the abdominal cavity, which is called the mesentery, we have the mesenteric lymph nodes. And then here in the inguinal area, we have the inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, so these are the chains or groups of lymph nodes that we can find. So cervical, axillary, bronchomediastinal, mesenteric, and then inguinal. So one of the things that can happen when someone, for instance, have sexual transmitted disease is that these lymph nodes get swollen. Why? Because they are close by the genital area. If someone has an infection within the throat, these will be the lymph nodes that get swollen. If someone has cancer in the breast, these ones, they get swollen. And then, so these will be the lymph nodes. Now for the vessels, so we have these vessels that carry the lymph. So we have these lumbar trunks that merge, and they form, together with the mesenteric trunks, they form this long duct that is called the thoracic duct. And then before it forms the thoracic duct, we have this dilation just behind this part of the celiac trunk, this branch, which is called the cisterna chyli. So the intestinal lymph nodes, the lumbar lymph nodes, trunks, the intestinal trunk, and then the lumbar trunk and the mesenteric trunks go and empty their lymph into here, cisterna chyli. And then from the cisterna chyli, the lymph will travel all the way up into the thoracic duct, and then this thoracic duct empties into this vein, which is the left subclavian vein. Okay. Now this thoracic duct drains all the lymph from below the diaphragm, right and left side, and everything on the left side of the body, including the arm, the thorax, and the left side of the head. Now the right lymphatic duct, which is this, that drains the lymph into the right subclavian vein, drains the lymph from the right side above the diaphragm, including the thorax, the arm, and the right side of the head. Okay, so again, so this is the cisterna chyli here, just behind this branch of the celiac trunk, which is this. And then this is the thoracic duct, all the way draining into the left subclavian, which is this blood vessel. And then here we have the right lymphatic duct, which drains the blood into the right subclavian. And then we have other tissues here that we can identify, like the appendix, which is this one in here, this tiny structure that it's by the cecum, which is this part of the large intestine. And then here on the left side of the stomach, which is this is the spleen. This tiny little structure in here that you see here, this is the spleen. So the spleen and the appendix are lymphoid tissues. Within the spleen, we have macrophages that can find antigens that are circulating throughout the blood, and then they start processing these antigens to set an immunological response. So when someone has removal of this spleen, the person is more likely to have bacterial infections, and the bacterial infections will be serious infections, like the ones that are caused by encapsulated bacteria, which are the most dangerous. A bacteria that has a capsule is like a bacteria that has an armor. So it prevents destruction from the immunological system much better than non-encapsulated bacteria. So this is the spleen, and this is the appendix. Now the thymus, it's supposed to be here within the mediastinum, the area between the left and the right lung. But we don't have it in here because this is a model from an adult lymphatic system. If this was a model from an infant or from a baby up to puberty, person in puberty years, these will have the thymus in here. The thymus helps to train lymphocytes, especially T lymphocytes, and once the person has developed full immunity by the age of puberty, this organ disappears, regresses in size. So there is no need for us to have the thymus unless the person has a cancer, and it will have a large thymus if it's an adult. But in this case, this model represents normal lymphatic tissue, so we don't have a thymus in here. And this is all for this video, and I will see you in the next.